Andy Lou, the Warriors have beaten the Washington Wizards. Welcome to Light Years. I am,
Are you good? Are you okay?
it's the day after the Super Bowl, 2 days after my buddy's wedding. I'm not young like I once was. There are prices to be paid on my end.
But this is how Draymond felt, by the way, this afternoon. Draymond woke up this morning after the Super Bowl and said, "Holy shit, I'm not ready to play today. I'm not ready to play." So you and Dre, same age, so y'all are about the same level, same
that
level down bad.
you have no idea how much of a compliment that
I know.
feels like to be told I'm the same age as Draymond, because that's not a fact at all. All right, Warriors win 135-126. I feel like we should start on what I think. There's really like a couple things that stood out to me in this game, but the biggest ones, Andrew Wiggins. I didn't even know if he was going to play today. They said he had and I'm back.
You should have done it the whole show.
They said he had a ankle sprain, and I'm like, oh great, just what they need. Another player missing time, and it's like, and it is what it is. It's up on the All-Star break, but it just feels like they've thrown so many games away all year with these situations. And not only did he play, he was the best player on the floor. This is what he looked like last year when we were just like, damn, he really took a step.
That was just elite level Andrew Wiggins performance. 29 points, but made all the big buckets, both in the first half and second half. Brought him back, then closed it out with a little mid-range fadeaway game that, I don't know, we haven't seen from any of the Warriors all season. Like, they probably could have used some of those and any of the big losses that they've had, So good to have him look like that. Like that I think, I could talk about the defense that he played against Porzingis. He played pretty good defense against the guards as well, a little bit against Beal. But, dude, that mid-range jump shot to close out the game there was kind of everything that the Warriors have been looking for months now.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the scoring. Like, Wiggins, outside of a couple weeks, has been a very consistent shooter for the team. It was getting downhill.
Yep.
It was driving kick. Had some nice assists there. Ended with 4. But I feel like, in general, always made the right basketball play. Like, so if a guy came to help, kick it out, then you get the extra pass, and Dante gets a 3. Also 7 rebounds. Look, to me, Wiggins' defining quality in the playoffs was like deciding he could out-rebound anyone he wanted to when he wanted to. And he opened the season rebounding, and then he got hurt. And since he's been back from being hurt, I just feel like he's never really found himself. So to see him do that, like, doesn't it feel like the overarching theme of this season is like you feel like they're just not athletic enough? And a big part of that is like, if Wiggins wasn't right, they really aren't athletic enough. And tonight he was that two-way wing, two-way wigs, whatever you want to call it. But like that's the type of stuff that's going to matter when I get to playoffs, because I have faith in Steph getting healthy and playing his game, and when it matters, Draymond and Clay and those guys. But like, you need the right amount of like athletic kick around those guys.
He is the guy that connects all of those. That was Andre Iguodala's role, because dude, they've won a ton of championships, and it's not like Steph and Clay was athletic. They definitely were about the same that they were now. Clay was obviously way better defensively and laterally, and then same with Draymond. 7 rebounds from Wiggins tonight, from William Mitchell in the comments there. Huge. I actually wasn't that big of a fan, even though he was shooting 45% early in the season from 3. I like this version so much better. He's just going right at Porzingis at the rim. And how often have we been frustrated at this team just chucking up threes? I actually thought that he was good against LA. They just didn't give him the ball. It was just Clay chuck, and Poole chuck this, and it was just really bad from those guys. And tonight they made a concerted effort to just say, well, if Kendrick Nunn's going to guard you, what are we doing here? What are we like? They don't have a single defensive player on that team outside of maybe Avdia, and so it's just go at these guys. Man.
Denny's scrappy.
Yeah, that's it.
I like the. I like that. But
Gafford's not bad, but yeah,
your point stands. And so you bring up the second thing, which is like decision making, and I think that was the other really interesting thing here. Look, Clay made way better decisions tonight, and it's
Yes.
Clay. I I watched the Laker game not in real time with you guys, but that just disgusting from Clay. Like no other way around it. And like the Hall of Famer he is, he probably watched the film and adjusted to it. So much more just kind of playing in the flow, making the extra pass. And that stuff really helps. Like no other way around that. But to me, the big player tonight was Ty Jerome, right? I know. I sound like Steve here, right?
Dude, I texted you all game about Ty Jerome, so I'm happy you're bringing it up. Literally, that's all I talked about. I just said, Sam, this is the guy. This is the guy right here. He is the perfect backup point guard for the Warriors. He comes in. He doesn't make mistakes offensively outside of that pick six that he had in the third, but he handles the ball. He makes the right plays, has a decent enough float shot that he doesn't miss, gets the guy the ball, doesn't turn the ball over in the possession in the flow of the offense, and then defensively he tries. He's small, he's not super quick, but he tries, right? He tries to get in the right place and usually smart enough to do that. I guess Virginia guy, right? Like he played a lot in college, so
yeah, this is a special man.
I mean, I don't even need to hear Steve tonight to know he's going to give some comment like that about our guy Ty Jerome.
Perfect backup point guard, especially like these games at home where you just have no energy. The Warriors had no energy in the first quarter. Perfect guy to bring in.
And I think it's so like, who's more talented, Ty Jerome or Jordan Poole? Obviously Jordan Poole.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he's put up 40 like multiple times this year. Like he's gonna have a 50-point game in the NBA. Like he's explosive. He can do anything. But like with this Warriors team, sometimes it feels like trying to make him play point guard puts a lot of pressure on other guys to be the point guard, mainly Draymond Green. And tonight, particularly with Wiggins and Clay feeling it offensively and being a little more in the flow offensively, I think it makes more sense to have like Ty Jerome, who's more of like a traditional point guard, moving the ball around, than having, because you want Jordan Poole out there for scoring, right?
I think that's the best way to put it. Actually, I jokingly said like, hey, you got to start Ty Jerome and just bring Poole off the bench. And that's a little dramatic. That's not going to happen. Two, it shouldn't happen. But I think the gist of it is that you do want to have Jordan Poole be a scorer. That's it. When he had 12 assists the game and the Warriors kept saying like, that's his best game, that's his best game, that's his best game. It was obvious the players and coaches were kind of telling him like, hey, this is how you should be playing, right? But that's not who Jordan Poole is. So it's actually kind of unfair, right, to ask him to play like that, because Jordan Poole's not that type of guy. If you want him to be that type of guy, like go get a Chris Paul type, right? Like that's just not who Poole plays. Like Clay and Steph, like he wants to play like those guys.
He's a scorer. Like he's a scorer's mentality first. And I actually think he's really grown as a playmaker. But like same way you're not going to turn Clay into Chris Paul, you're not going to turn Jordan Poole into it either.
Even Steph. I mean, even Steph. It's like Steph when his shot's off a little bit, but Steph's so great. Like he's such an all timer that he can go get into his Chris Paul bag. But that's because he's Steph. Jordan Poole is still. Like, I watched the Jazz tonight. I don't know why I watched so much Jazz this season. I don't know. But I watched Jordan Clarkson, and he's to the point in his career, and he's a lot older than Poole.
Andy, like, plays like he's the total casual and knows nothing that's going on. Deep down, all he does is text me about the fucking Thunder and the Jazz.
Hey, listen. Telling you I know you love the Thunder. They're going to be a playoff team next season. 6 seed, 5 seed. They're going to be fucking Jalen Williams. But I watched Jordan Clarkson.
Santa Clara or Arkansas?
Who's the wing one? Santa Clara. Yeah. That's like Santa Clara. I love him. I think he's gonna be a star. The other one's not as good. But I think that's the guy that Poole needs to model himself after. Jordan Cole doesn't make. I mean, Jordan Clarkson just gets buckets, right? All right, we got a comment here.
From our guy No Cap, I'm a huge Poole fan, but let's be honest. More than likely, they flip him in the offseason for bench depth.
This is a good comment.
I mean, look, the thing about Jordan Poole is I never really concern myself with any of that stuff when he's on a rookie deal. Like, any way you slice it, he's making $3-ish million. He's over exceeding, what he's getting paid to do, right? Like, even if he is just a sixth man, he's better than his salary. Next year, when the big money hits, that's when the tougher decisions come. Like, can you afford to have a 28 to $30 million guy who may not be in your closing lineup because you don't know if he can fit around Steph and Clay in a defensive way, or do you ride with it? Because let's be real, they're 9-10 without Steph this year. If they don't have Jordan Poole, what's their record?
4 wins probably. Right.
Yeah, it's
5 wins maybe.
That's right. You can focus on all the negative you want, but like Steph's probably a 55 to 60 game a season player. You got to have a plan for the 25 games he's not playing. And even if Jordan's imperfect, he's something,
He right now is very much an 82 game player. The Warriors need him to get through the regular season. Now, to your point about him not closing games, he didn't close games last season. Like, they figured out as they got deeper in the playoffs that, Jordan Poole is they get him out there to crush those second quarter minutes, those bench minutes, which is what he did, especially against Boston. He had a few nice games there. But if you're talking about closing a game against John Morant, closing a game against Luka Doncic, he wasn't out there. Much better to have someone like GP2 out there. And so I think it's a good point. At the end of the day, though, they got to choose, right? They do have to choose, or do they pay the tax one more season and wait for Clay to come off the books? I don't know. It's mid-February. I guess we don't need to spend too much time on it, but I do think that is something that the Warriors are thinking about. He's also probably the guy, and last thing on this, he's also probably the guy, if you're going to trade someone, highest trade value? Like, who has higher trade value? Him or Draymond, right?
But,
well, yeah. Take that out.
But yes, okay, taking Steph off the table.
Wiggs, maybe? Maybe.
It's either Wiggins or Poole if you're another team, just because of age and years and contract, that sort of thing. So, like, if you want to shake the whole thing up, it's got to be one of those two guys. And I just don't know how you justify trading Wiggins when
you can't.
It's so hard to find wings who do the things he does. And, like, I'm going to talk about this later, but, like, part of getting GP2 back is its wing defense, right? And are you with me? Steph plus Draymond plus wings who can defend is essentially always going to win a title.
Am I with you? Yeah, we've seen it forever. Absolutely, I'm with you. Right?
At minimum, we know the formula. So it's like, I can't give that guy up, even if you might be able to get 8 picks, whatever. Shout out Rudy Gobert. But like, yeah, I do. I want to end it on this. We got months before that decision, and it's like, it's not like you and I don't text about it or think about it. It's like, what if they flip him for this and they do something like that? It's just like, there's no point to get into it because none of that can happen before the summer anyway.
Yep.
Okay. That does remind me, we got a couple super chats to get to. Awesome. Sam having midlife crisis.
Must have been the shades.
But like, come on, man. If you've been watching the pod, I've been having that for years. They only have one dude above 6'9", counting PBJ. Is a buyout needed?
This is a good one. Did you see the quote this afternoon? I know you're on a flight, but did you see the quote this afternoon?
I did actually have it in the rundown, so maybe I'll pull it up right now. But keep going.
No, throw it because I want to talk about it, and it feels like a problem. It feels like to me they're not going to get a buyout guy. That's what it feels like to me with what Bob was saying this morning.
All right, I got the quote up. Appreciate our guy. Awesome.
Are we thinking the same thing?
We're
thinking the same thing.
I hope we're thinking the same thing.
Yes, we are. There you go. Look at that. Look at us. Look at Bob.
I don't think you guys
have immaculate hair.
God. How do you feel about the size on this team right now, and does that affect the buyout market at all?
Yeah, we'll have to look at the buyout market. I think, much like last year's deadline, we moved forward with Looney and Draymond, who have kind of split minutes in the regular season. JaMychal's, I guess what you'd call our other big. Last year we had a couple other kind of non-traditional bigs that Bielitz is not in the NBA, so I can talk about him, but like a shooting big who did a nice job, and then another good player that helped us. We hope that we have enough, but we'll look and see. It's also determinative of how the coaches will use that player. For us to say, here's a big guy, and the coaching staff to say, well, we're not playing that guy. Doesn't matter if he's 7 feet tall or 8 feet tall.
Whoa.
Any buyout conversation has to be done in collaboration with the coaching staff, because why bring a player in if they're not going to use him. But if there's a player that the coaching staff and the front office thinks can be helpful, absolutely, we'll go target that guy. But not there's a good John Wooden quote. Don't confuse activity for achievement.
Ooh, that's a bar.
The buyout market. Here's so and so, and the guy's sitting on the end of the bench. Because for us, it's $4 million. I don't know, it's $3 million or something like that, which Joe has done and would do. But that's the conversation with the coach.
Bob's sitting here going, that could be 3 to 4 on my salary, so I'm not bringing someone in. No.
That was a fascinating minute of Bob Myers. I feel like he's gotten a little more transparent as he's kind of maybe out the door here. These last few months.
It's not the most important part of it, but he goes to the same 2 to 3 John Wooden quotes all the time. How many times have you heard, isn't it amazing what we can achieve if no one cares about who gets the credit? Like, I've heard that one like 5 times. But yeah, okay. So I think I know the part of that quote that you think is most interesting.
Yeah. He's just basically saying, look, I can get a guy, but if Steve doesn't give a shit, what's the point? Like, I can go get Serge Ibaka, but Steve Kerr doesn't want him, so why the hell do I? You know what I mean? He's not going to play. And I think that directly actually talks about Wiseman. Directly/indirectly is about James Wiseman. It's like, look, man, we got Wiseman. We liked him. And Steve is not going to play him, and we got to move him, right? Like, it's something like that when he talks about 7-footer, 8-footer, because, I mean, Wiseman's one of the biggest guys in the NBA. So, anyway, this isn't about Wiseman, but to the point about the bigs, I think it's fascinating to me. It feels like right now that it's probably not going to happen, Sam, right? It feels like they're going to convert either Ty Jerome, who we just talked about had an awesome night, or Anthony Lamb.
It's Anthony Lamb.
You think it's going to be... Not between the two, you think it's just going to be, you're just saying, like, no buyout, it's Anthony Lamb.
So I think he's basically saying Steve is saying X player won't play. I'd rather just have Anthony or Ty, you know? So, like, I agree with you there. My gut tells me it's going to be Anthony Lamb for positional reasons, not because, like, ironically, like, Ty Jerome, I think, is an NBA player. I think the Warriors are going to give him a contract next year. I think he's going to be really good for the team. Like, he's not as good as Dante, but I think he'll replace Dante by next year for them, you know, like that sort of thing. But, like, when you look at what they need going into the playoffs, they need another wing. They feel comfortable at the 3-4 minimum, right?
Yep.
And you know, he's not big, but he plays big. So I think that's what it comes down to. Like, who would Steve Kerr play, to your point? Serge Ibaka or Anthony Lamb?
Yeah, I mean, he's playing the guy that can make a 3 that knows the system. I also don't even know if he likes someone like him. Here's another one now. JaMychal Green had a great game tonight. Great game tonight. Just energy big, just a bunch of threes.
He's played well for a few weeks now, right?
Hurt his hand, and now I'm kind of curious. Steve Kerr kind of saying, like, hey, we don't know how long he's going to be out. Again, they've got 10 days off after tomorrow, after the Clippers. So he's got a bit of time off. But, you know, maybe what if he's hurt for an extended amount, right?
Okay, that changes the calculus, because that's the other part of the equation. With JaMychal coming around, and, like, we can discuss what he can't do, but, like, he's filling the role of that third energy big, right?
Huge. Huge.
If he has a physical limitation that makes you question if he can do that, maybe you're more interested in entertaining someone like Ibaka, like a buyout guy that the Warriors would only use at 5. So maybe that changes the calculus, because to me, what I was going to say is, like, Steve's almost, it sounds to me like he's like, I need a guy with versatility more than I need another guy to stick at the 5, because I got Draymond, I got Looney, and at this point, I feel comfortable with JaMychal being the third option. But, like, when the playoffs come down to it, I'm just playing those first 2 anyway.
It doesn't matter. So, those guys are playing anyway.
So it's like, if like that's your mindset, I get the idea of, like, preferring a wing to a big. But yeah, no, I guess we got to track it, because, like, if the JaMychal thing with his hand is actually bad, maybe that changes things.
And I think that's what the trade deadline was for. It's not the buyout market. It's not for that. Like, there's no guys out there that are going to be, like, Steve Kerr's going to say, all right, we got him. We have to play him in the 8th man minutes. There's no guy out there. That guy was GP2. The Warriors got him, which, you know, we're going to talk about here. But that that's the guy, and he's out for a month. So, like the Warriors are kind of out of options. There's not really like even whoever they get, even in the buyout market, isn't going to come in here and start stealing minutes unless I don't know, Dario Saric. I guess that's like the best guy, but is he going to play like real minutes? So yeah, man, I don't know who they can get that's realistic.
Saric should be interesting because he's out wing, but he's kind of like a.
He's like an Olenek type. Like he can move a little bit, shoot a three, he can pass a little bit, play a little bit of deep. Like he can do all these things a little bit, right? And he's interesting.
All these things in 3-minute shifts before he's exposed, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like you watch, like JaMychal Green, same thing. He does really good stuff, and then he plays too much, and you're like, oh my god. Same with Ty Jerome. It's like he's really good, and then all of a sudden he's on the court for too long, and it's not good, right? So,
I like this comment from Shiny Hixorius, and apologies if I mispronounced that. In my opinion, Dre is having his second best defensive season. Andy Lou, do you agree or disagree?
It's like his sixth, maybe. Best defensive season. What? Like, this is not even close to his best defense. Now, like, a part of it is everyone sucks around him defensively, so I don't, it kind of makes it look bad in the aggregate, but Draymond's been better than this. He's been better than this in 13-14. He's been better than this in 14-15, 15-16, 17. Like, he's been better than this in all those championship seasons. I just think it's different because in those seasons he had great defenders around him too, and this season it's kind of been, well, I got Looney, and then everyone else. Like, how happy do you think Draymond was when he found out that the Warriors got GP2? I can't imagine his reaction.
Oh, yeah. No, it's
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's a fair point about the entire situation, and I feel like it's time probably for us to have the GP2 discussion then.
Yep.
I'm going to pull this up real quick for you. But Bob Myers, so the trade goes through Sunday. Can I ask you, what did you think? We didn't get to talk on Saturday. I listened, but like, what did you think of the entire saga? Because you don't see that sort of thing happen every day.
Here's my thought. They really don't want Wiseman back. They really didn't want Wiseman back, is what it is. They do not care. GP2 at a month, maybe 2 months, maybe 3, maybe the rest of the season. In a postseason run, we don't care.
Amputation.
We don't. Stephen A. Smith, we don't care. We don't care. And all that fuss about we're maybe going to not do this trade or we want to get picks back or blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no. If I was Portland, I would have been, go ahead. Nix the trade. Go ahead. I dare you. No way the Warriors were ever going to do that. That's how I felt.
What did you think about them with all the medical stuff? Because, Toradol, first we thought they were injecting him, and then, it comes out it's more in pills. To me, it's pretty interesting. To me, it's pretty interesting that the two medical staffs are very unaligned on this one. Like it really does. Maybe this is a me thing. I think Rick Celebrini is the most interesting man in the world because no one talks to him. He's like the most he hides from media, but he has like more control over the Warriors than maybe Steve Kerr. Like he literally held the whole trade up because he did not agree with their medical assessment.
Woo.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Wow. And we never hear from him publicly. Like you get like a puff piece about what he does, and like obviously he's very good at his job, and I'm not insinuating anything other than that. But it's just like for someone who is that influential in the organization, like deciding Draymond's rehab to get him back on the court for the playoffs last year with the back issues, rehabbing Clay, Steph, to just have zero front facing. It's interesting, right?
It honestly, good. I don't want to hear from the medical guy. You know what I mean? But here, no, seriously.
Yeah, I hear from enough of you.
No, seriously. He's done a great job, right? He's the guy that you can argue outside of the players and the coaches. He's the guy that made last season's championship happen. He got Draymond healthy by the end. He got Steph healthy by the end. He got GP2 healthy for the NBA Finals, right? Like he got guys back healthy. He got Klay Thompson back healthy. And looks like Clay might even play. News is coming out. Clay might even play tomorrow on the end of the back-to-back, right? And so it looks like Clay is getting healthier and healthier by the game, and thanks to Rick Celebrini. So, to your point, though, dude might be more powerful than look at him. Look at his face.
That's our guy. That's our guy. This is the man who saved the dynasty. I'm just saying, for someone who has that big of a role in the organization to be relatively behind the scenes, I mean, it's interesting.
You remember Chelsea Lane? We never heard from her, but I do think back then, like, the Warriors didn't have many injuries, right? Like, it was kind of just the Steph stuff. They were younger; they didn't have to go through all this stuff. So
well, it was less important, like, right?
Yeah.
Like to the broader point, the core's all old and injured. Like it's
every week.
No, they're like the Spurs back in the day, and it's like your ability to get these older players who still can play at a high level, but like maybe not every game, to peak at the right time is a very important characteristic.
I believe that Rick Celebrini was the guy that worked on Steve Nash.
Correct. No, that is
I don't know
correct.
if I'm right. Okay,
that's correct. That's where he gained his reputation in terms of like broader public.
And he did a great job, right?
And he worked with Nash when Steve Kerr was the GM of the Suns. So his claim to fame was helping Nash extend his career. And that's why they hired him, because it's like, extend Steph's career, like make that prime go from 34 to 38. This is all like public knowledge stuff. And like, look, we get Dr. Pandya on here for medical stuff. So I'm not going to opine on whether I know, like, I understand his methods. It's not my thing, but like, that's his backstory, to be clear.
Yeah, and the comments are killing it right now. So from Bag Broach over there, he says Steve Nash says Celebrini gave him 4 additional seasons. I mean, look, that's huge. Yeah. And then from Klay Thompson, who, it's got to be the real Klay Thompson in the comments. Fun fact, Rick Celebrini's son is projected to go number 1 overall in next year's NHL draft. That can't be. Wow. Anyway, fun facts from the YouTube live.
So Celebrini is from the Vancouver area. So he is, he is from an area where people play hockey. So it's possibly true. Actually, my favorite Celebrini fact is he was a professional soccer player in Canada. And then he basically had some bad procedures done, which shortened his career, which is how he got into, it's just like the peak, like, if only I knew what I should have known back then, my career would have gone different type of guy,
Yeah, and then he became a sportsman. Look, hey, by the way, he's right.
I'm saying he's super interesting. I think it's super interesting. Yeah,
I'm looking at Macklin Celebrini. He is the odds-on favorite to be the number 1 pick. This guy, Rick Celebrini. We might need to do 30 minutes on Rick. Next spot.
Everyone wants to do. No one can get access to him. I think our way in is pivoting light years to hockey. Start becoming the number 1 home of Macklin Celebrini content, and then we're gonna get our way in.
Yeah.
Like,
wow. Well, I mean, the Sharks could draft him. Sharks suck, right? I don't watch hockey anymore because Sharks are terrible. Maybe they can go draft him with a number 1 pick. This is amazing. This is amazing.
Wow. What if the Sharks are tanking to get Rick Celebrini's son so they could get Steph courtside? That's courtside. Ice side at Sharks games.
Genius. Have you ever been to a Sharks game?
Of course.
I've never. I heard it's amazing. I don't know why I don't go.
I'm not going to say I go to a ton of Sharks games. I've been to like 2 to 3 in my lifetime. So,
2 more. 3
so
more.
It is fun. You would enjoy yourself. But it was a while ago. So, we'll see. We're going to get the crossover fan emailing us, just telling us how we just butchered and misrepresented the sport of hockey, and they're never going to listen to Light Years again. So preemptively, I apologize to you, personal emails. But to the GP2 thing, we didn't actually talk about this, but okay, so he's going to be out for at least a month.
Yeah.
Where is it? Are you concerned about that? Where's your head with that?
It's weird. It's weird. I feel like that means a 6-minute. It feels like a 6-week recovery. Wow, my hangover is just as bad as yours. 6-week recovery. Because usually what they do is they give us the initial timeline to reevaluate, and then from there, it tells me that they think he's going to be able to start doing basketball stuff within 3 to 4 weeks, and then it's the ramp up process, and then he'll be ready to play probably 2 weeks after.
Ramp
so
up.
what? 5 weeks, 6
So I was
weeks
gonna
off.
say 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 6 weeks puts us at like end of March. I will say, because he's played with the team, I'm not super concerned about them needing a lot of time to insert him. And I've talked myself up into this one big time because the West is mediocre. And honestly, they need another like lockdown perimeter guy. And they went and got one of the best ones in the league if he's healthy.
Yes.
They like how many guys are on GP2's level?
Drew Holiday.
Drew, maybe Caruso. Yeah,
That's
probably a couple names we're not thinking about, but the point is top 5, right? You have him locked in, and you have Wiggins. Now you can match up with all these super teams in the West. You know, you go up against Dallas, GP, you're hounding Kyrie. Wiggins, you're on
Luka.
You're on Luka, and then we got Kuminga and Dante off the bench in smaller roles where they can be a little more effective, kind of guarding those guys for small stretches, right? You go up against the Suns with their new super team. You put GP on Book, you put Wiggins on KD, same thing. I think it's going to have such a bigger impact than like what you would think getting someone like GP2 would typically have, because like they needed one specific skill set to unlock a lot of things.
And what it unlocks, the one that you didn't mention, here's what it unlocks. It unlocks Draymond Green. Draymond Green doesn't have to play one-on-one defense, which is not really his forte. Draymond Green is the best help side, weak side defensive players I have ever seen in my life. And this allows him to do that. He doesn't have to go and guard someone one-on-one out on the perimeter. He doesn't do that well anymore. So what he can do now, by the way, little as tangent, Kristaps Porzingis down 6, trying to go at Draymond Green with a minute left in the post. I saw that, and I know KP at 32 tonight, but I looked at it and I said, yes, that's not happening. There's no chance. Not a chance.
This is big gym basketball.
Yeah, come on. Hey.
Oh
my. Hey, James could. Porzingis didn't have very good first few years of his career, so maybe.
No, I think they're very similar.
They are. It feels that way. Feels that way a little bit, and KP's kind of figured it out. It feels like, even though I don't know how great he is, but I mean, dude's been killing it this season. So maybe he's figured it out. Maybe that's what Wiseman does in Detroit. Which, why did Detroit make that move when they have bigs that are really good? I don't get it, but. I don't know. Maybe story for another show. But
they're going to get Wembanyama and have the first 5 big lineup. They saw Orlando, with like Paulo at like the shooting guard or something. That's like, we're one-upping you. We're going all 7-footers.
I know you watch Orlando. You know how good they are right now? They're legitimately a really good basketball team. Yeah. My guy, Franz Wagner. They got Bankero. They got Fultz in there, and then Jalen Suggs. Anyway, that Magic team is legit.
Yeah, see, this comes back to my point where like secretly you're the bigger hipster than me. You let me take all like the fame for being like the dorky hipster online, but deep down, all you want to do is fucking text me about Franz Wagner.
But he is amazing, man. He is. Woo! Good thing Kirk can't ruin him, right? Good thing he's not on the Warriors.
Stop. All right, we got a couple other comments to get to here. All right, Paratosh. Thoughts on Myers and Kerr said about the buyout market? I feel like there's some friction between the coaching staff and front office. Technically, we answered this before I threw the chat up there, so I apologize to you, my friend. I want one final thought on this is it does feel like the coaching staff is very stubborn with what they want in general.
Which segues, I think, into a couple things. The 2 young wings, Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga, pretty bad tonight again, but I take that back. He wasn't bad. He just didn't make that big of an impact, but I think Steve is so tough on these guys. that when he sees Kuminga gets a backdoor or gets backdoored, and he's done for the rest of the game. And I think that's unfair, man. That's well done. Wow, you're like switching sides today. It's unfair to the kid, and I think Moses Moody, he played some really good minutes in the first half, and in the fourth quarter. He plays about a minute and a half, I think. Shoots a 3, airballs, and he's done for the rest of the game. And so, I think those guys are given it's really hard for them to crack the rotation. It's really hard to gain confidence. And then I also think like guys like Patrick Baldwin Jr. have shown that they could probably play 5-10 minutes a game, and they just don't. And that's where I think it's unfair, because I watch guys like Ty Jerome make mistakes. I watch guys like Anthony Lamb make mistakes repeatedly every single game. And those guys seem to get a longer leash, and those guys aren't lottery picks. And so it's tough. It's tough. I feel bad for guys like that. Like
I agree with you specifically on the Kuminga front, where he was fine, but like he probably should have got more rope than 13 minutes tonight. Like he didn't take particularly bad shots. He didn't make particularly terrible decisions. There was one turnover that was kind of a head scratcher, but like if we're really going to play that
like
game,
the rest of the team,
everyone's going to have some talking to do on that front. He competed on defense, and like particularly on the Kuminga side, I just keep coming back to it. It's like they need his defense. You need to be able to count on him for 15 to 20 minutes a game in the playoffs, and going unnecessarily hard on him against the Washington Wizards is not the way to get him there. You know, it's not. So it's one of those things where it's like penny wise, pound foolish. They should probably do better. Steve should probably be a little calmer with that guy, because like overall, I just agree with you. So
yeah, it's tough. I think that's what happened. So that's what happened to James Wiseman. We go back to that issue. I'm sure they like him as a person, but they're not going to give him the minutes to play, and he can't do anything with it. So why waste his time?
I don't like comparing him to Wiseman, because that's kind of a cop out, in the sense of Kuminga can stick to the game plan, but he'll make mistakes the way like bench players do. Wiseman couldn't even stick to the basics of the game plan. You know, like you couldn't stick him on the floor, honestly. Like and maybe you're right. Maybe he just needed to play more and have a little more rope. But like Kuminga is out here making the same amount of mistakes as someone like Lamb, but he's being punished for it, per se.
I think that's the way to put it.
Whereas Wiseman, it was like we just can't put him out there. It's a much different thing.
Yeah. At that point, they were wasting each other's time.
Yeah.
Good riddance for both of it.
Vincent saying Poole for OG, less money, helps keep Dante. I mean, look, man, if Masai is going to give the Warriors OG and Obi for Poole, we'll help. we'll pitch in on the gas.
Fred VanVleet's gone in the offseason, which, again, Masai Ujiri, what are you doing? I get that. You know, you're a good GM, and you've made some great trades, and you won with Kawhi. You made the trade that won the Toronto a championship. But come on, man. They're keeping that team together. And anyway, I thought that was stupid. Poole for OG. I don't see it. Masai likes a tight. They're also like the Orlando Magic. They love their 6'8" to 6'10" wings and bigs. Don't think that they'll want Jordan Poole. But who knows? A
little pie in the sky. That would be like a great case scenario, but this is what it is. Last game before the All-Star break tomorrow. The Warriors will be going into the All-Star break at worst 500, so probably 500.
Oh yeah.
And then we're back. It's a weird season. That's my main take is it's a fucking weird season.
It is. It feels like, I guess the only thing we'll get out of here with some optimism, because the Warriors won. So we're not here optimistic. And Steph was on the sidelines today. He talked pregame. We didn't get to that, but he talked pregame. Basically said, like, hey, he's not doing anything basketball related right now. So assume that the next 9 days, 10 days that he's going to be off is just all for rest, which is good. The Warriors got lucky. They didn't get lucky with the injury, but they got lucky with the All-Star break coming up. And I think the Warriors are gearing up for the last 2.5, 3 weeks of the season, right? It feels that way. They'll have GP2 back, to us, Steph back, and say, let's go 6-1 or something like that, and let's go into the playoffs either at the hopefully the 6 seed or the 5 seed. But
Gonna try to be the first team to win the title with a 42-40 record.
I think that's what they're gonna probably finish.
Honestly, you know, today I kind of had an epiphany where I'm like, I don't care what their record is. I don't care if they're the 6 seed. This West is so garbage that none of it matters. All that matters is that they're healthy in the right series.
Can I one up you? Because I had this epiphany today. I shit you, no, I'm not even lying. I had this epiphany today. I don't care if they're a playing team. I just don't care. Just get in somehow, some way. I just don't care. So I'm with you. Like, can they be the 6 seed? Great. If they're not, you're telling me Steph, GP2, Wiggs, all those guys healthy? Let it ride.
To me, it completely depends on the year. And most years, what they're doing would, kind of fuck them, honestly. But this year, maybe not. Like the top 3 seeds are going to be the Grizzlies, who we know are chokers. The Sacramento Kings, love them, my favorite team to watch in the league. Let's be real about it. If they don't want to draw the Warriors.
Yeah.
And the Denver Nuggets, who I think are not fraudulent, but like they're always going to have to go through them anyway. So it's not really that bad. It's like one of those. I hate going down this alley, but it's just like just get there healthy.
Mavs and Suns and Clippers in the 4, 5, 6. Do any of those teams, right? Do any of those teams are you petrified?
How many games is KD, Booker, whatever their roster is going to play together?
10, 15, maybe.
With no background chemistry.
No. I know. That's a hard one. I watched Dallas tonight too. Tough one. Like, that's a team that's just like, what do we do? You talk about no depth. Same with the Suns. No depth and no defense. I'm just not.
Theo Pinson not keeping you up at night.
He made a couple threes to make a call. I do like Josh Green. I know you like your Josh Green too, but just come on, man. Like, what are we doing here with these teams? What are we doing here? Which is why I said a couple pods ago, I would love to see the Nuggets win the championship if it's not the Warriors. It would just be fun to see a team just build through kind of a homegrown way and have those guys build chemistry for 5+ years. And, it'd be cool to see that. I don't know.
I'm with you in the sense of I'm only tipping my cap to teams who like authentically build teams now. I want none of this. We got Rui Hachimura and Malik Beasley crap. So, I mean, they're not even going to make the play-in, so let's be real.
They lost. They got blown out tonight on the road, which just makes the Warriors look even worse for that whatever performance the Warriors threw out there on Saturday night. But LeBron looks like someone who can't even get on the court. These are must-win games, and he can't play. I mean, this is not good. It's not good. I'm sick of these teams doing this in the trade deadline. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sick of the Suns. Like, Mavs,
not gonna lie, little Spider-Man meme right here in terms of like garbage play before the deadline criticism. But yeah. Let's just end it there. Yep. Appreciate everyone. We'll be back.